Floods have hardly been new news for the Bangladeshi people for many, many years, as the geographical location of this country makes it more prone to various frequent disasters such as cyclones, earthquakes, floods, etc. This fact was no different on August 18th, 1974. However, the cause and subsequent effects of the flood that occurred on this day were quite different and severe. Many floods see a seasonal or storm-related impact, but climate change was actually a large part of the main driving force for this flood. Climate change led to an increase in precipitation and a decrease in evapotranspiration, causing higher river discharge. The cause for most flooding in this area is the monsoon precipitation that happens in the floodplain of the GBM basins. Plus, more snow and freezing ice melting with rain from the Himalayas is generated by local rainfall. Bangladesh is infamous for being prone to various frequent natural disasters. It consists of around 6.7% of river and island water bodies, with around 250 rivers still flowing in the countries. Each year during the monsoon season, normal precipitation causes 20 to 30% of the country inundation. Because of climate change, this average has increased. After the 1974 flood, all catastrophic floods have covered more than 30% of the country. From April to July of 1974, Bangladesh was hit by heavy rainfall, resulting in a series of floods along the Brahmaputra River. One large effect was the devastation of crops. It is impossible to talk about this flood in only terms of physical destruction from the magnitude of water. While the landscape and infrastructure were severely damaged, the human impact of the crop devastation was catastrophic. Firstly, the destruction of rice in particular caused people whose livelihoods depended on an income from this agriculture to be heavily affected. Day-to-day life drastically changed for Bangladeshi citizens during this time. The water destroyed a significant amount of the annual rice crop. The destruction of this staple also led to a drastic increase in rice prices, unemployment, and reduced purchasing power of poor farmers. Malnutrition during this time can also be connected to the lack of access to food, but also a lack of clean water, meaning there was a quality and quantity issue with drinking water. The main effect of this flood, however, was a countrywide famine, with the official causation being determined not in terms of a food availability decline, but as a case of too much money chasing too few goods. While low food imports and government food stocks caused a general food shortage, a large reason for the famine was that the rich stocked up on a few goods, leaving little to none for the rest of the country. The effect was almost an 8-month-long famine that ran rampant through the country. The flood was, however, the initial case of the famine. The government estimated that 27,000 people died from the flood, while an unofficial estimate that took the following famine into account reached 1.5 million. The sea level has risen 8 to 9 inches in Bangladesh due to its huge inland rivers, which makes it subject to constant floods, especially due to severe climate change. Around 163 million people living in Bangladesh have almost no escape from these natural phenomena due to their closeness to the rivers passing through and around the city and country. Because climate change is not stopping or slowing down anytime soon, Bangladesh has since put some regulations and practices in place to regulate the reactions after a flood. The Coastal Embankment Improvement Project was put into place to support the rehabilitation and upgrading of protection to the coastal communities in Bangladesh. The project pushed forward works such as adding rescue boats and having food storage for livestock and people. As of December 2021, the Bangladeshi government has upgraded to larger and stronger embankments and hydraulic structures and has excavated 215 kilometers of drainage channels. Almost 150 water management groups have been involved to ensure overall sustainability, including closing gates to avoid tidal flooding and salinity intrusion. Although Bangladesh has seen their fair share of floods and other natural disasters, this was one of the worst, not only infrastructurally, but societally. This flood came as a wake-up call to try and mitigate some of the effects of global warming and to have safety measures in place to be able to react efficiently when these floods do inevitably occur.